today's class, we will be exploring some movement with the asanas. We'll be doing that in the asanas themselves, and we'll also be joining a few asanas together, so exploring transitions from one asana to the next. After we've done that and we're all nice and warm, we'll be exploring a little bit more into strength, and we'll be doing a couple of inversions at the end of class as well. So you don't necessarily need any props for today's class, but if you like, you can have a block. So either a yoga block or a book or just something stable that you could potentially put your weight onto if you need it, or to prop yourself up if you need it by lightly touching with the hands. And depending on how chilly it is where you are today, you can also have a blanket at the end of class for shavasana. Otherwise, all you need is a nice clear space, a little bit of space around you for some of the movement. But as always, we will start with our pranayama. So finding a comfortable seat, whatever's most comfortable for you. Rolling the shoulders back and down, lowering the gaze to the front of the mat, or if you feel comfortable, closing the eyes. And we'll just start by coming into our breath. So breathing in through the nose, back of the throat, down into the lungs, out of the lungs, back of the throat, out through the nose. Just noticing how the breathing is today. Now beginning to extend the breath, so whatever is your comfortable breathing ratio, or exploring what is your comfortable breathing ratios as we inhale, just counting slowly, 1, 2, 3, and so on. And exhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4. As we do this, we want to make sure that we're not forcing the breath at all, just noticing and counting the natural in-breath and out-breath. So now we just want to take the average count of breath. So you may have noticed that it's varied from round to round. So we want to take the average, whatever that number is, and we want to try and consistently, for the next few rounds of breath, keep bringing it to that breath count for the inhale and the exhale. Right, after the next full round of breath, what we'll do is once we've inhaled, we'll pause at the top of the inhale either for one count, or if you've done antar kumbhaka before, you can hold it for the same length of breath as you inhale. So just choose whatever you wish, whether it's one count or up to your full inhale breath count. If you wish, when we're doing the antar kumbhaka, holding the breath, you can also just gently drop the chin down to the chest as we're holding the breath. And just before you want to exhale, lifting the chin up, releasing the throat lock, and then exhaling. So this throat lock is known as Jalendhara bandha, the throat lock. So we'll do 2 more rounds like this. After your next full round of breath, dropping the antar kumbhaka and the Jalendhara bandha, the throat lock, but continuing with extended breath for 2 more rounds. Once you've finished your last round, just allowing the breathing to return to its natural pattern. So dropping the concentration on breathing counts and just taking a few breaths. And just noticing how that breathing is feeling now. When you feel ready, slowly opening your eyes, bring your awareness back into the room. And for today, we'll start by doing some standing asanas. So coming up out of your seat, nice and slow, moving any cushions or any props out of the way. And we'll start with you standing at the top of your mat. Starting at the top of your mat. Grounding down through the feet. Now the feet can be a fist width apart or closer, depending on what feels comfortable for you. I like to have a little bit of a natural parting in between my feet. Growing tall through the spine, head and neck. Rolling the shoulders back and down. Pausing here for a moment in Tadasana. And when you're ready, as we inhale, sitting back, bringing our bottom down towards the floor, bending through the knees, make sure the knees are pointing forwards, and bring the weight slightly back towards the heels. We want to be able to wriggle our toes, and bringing the arms alongside the head, so that the arms can either be shoulder width apart, or if the shoulders are nice and free, you can bring the palms together. Holding here in uthkatasana. Chair pose, imagining that we're sitting down into that imaginary chair. Taking a few breaths here, creating some heat in the legs. One more breath. Inhaling, lifting all the way up, and releasing the arms back down. All right, stepping out to the left, bring the left foot behind. We want a decent amount of distance between the right and the left foot. As we get into this pose, you'll be able to sense how far you want the legs apart. So squaring the hips to the right leg, the front leg, walking the left foot back. We want the right foot, the toes to be facing forward, same direction as the knee, and the left leg slightly rotating outwards through the left hip socket. Foot coming down at a 45-degree angle, slightly rolling out to the outside edge of the left foot. Squaring those hips towards the front, and we're going to bend through the right knee. As we get into this position, you might find that you want to walk the left foot back a bit more, sinking down through the center, really bending through that right knee and making sure that we're pushing slightly outwards towards the outside. You don't want to be rolling that knee in. Nice and strong in the legs. As we inhale, rising the arms up, extending the arms straight up. Again, if the shoulders are tight, you can have the arms shoulder width apart. If they're more open, you can bring the palms of the hands together. Whichever you feel is more comfortable. Making sure the weight is even between the right and the left foot, and really grounding down through that left back foot. If having the heel down is too much, do feel free to lift the heel off and bring that left foot and toes going in the same direction as the right. So up to you how open you are through this as well to the positioning. Holding here. Breathing, nice long extended breath. One more breath here. And straightening through the right knee, coming up to the center. Now, bringing the arms down at shoulder height, rotating towards a long edge of the mat, turning the left foot into that 45-degree angle if it's not there already, squaring the hips to the long edge of the mat. Right foot coming out 90 degrees. Walking the left foot back a bit further as we start sinking down into the center. Really generously bending through that right knee, bringing the arms up to shoulder height, lifting up through the upper arms, right and left arm balanced in a line, and looking forward towards the right hand. Breathing here, nice and strong in the legs, pushing that right knee out to the outside right edge. strong in the legs, but soft in the face and the shoulders. One more breath. Right, straightening through the right leg. Bringing the arms down, coming back towards the front. Doing a little hop with the back leg. Coming forward towards the front of the mat again. This time, we're going to shift our weight, all of our weight, onto the right foot. Hinging from the hips. Coming down either side of that right leg and just lifting that left leg up to meet the right. For this position, we want to be nice and strong through the right foot. And we want to bring the right hand just a little bit further forward of the right foot. So we want to bring our center of balance over the right foot. You can bring both hands down for now as we gently lift up off the left. Bring the weight into the right. Bring that center of gravity forward over the right. And letting that left foot float up to whatever height feels comfortable. Ideally, we want it in alignment with the hip. Just finding our balance here. Making sure the hips are square towards the mat. If you're feeling balanced and comfortable, you can try bringing the weight off the left hand, gently rotating up through the right and opening the hips up and out towards the left, rotating the left foot and hip. Wherever you are, taking another breath. And slowly bringing the hips square towards the mat if they're not there already. And bringing the left leg down to meet the right. From here, just gently rolling back up to standing. And we'll try that on the other side. So I'm going to move to the other end of my mat. You can stay where you are. So left side this time. The chair pose will be exactly the same because we're using both of our legs. So feet at a comfortable distance, either one fist width apart or a little bit closer. Inhaling, sitting down into that chair, taking a few breaths here. Sitting back, bringing the weight over the backs of the heels. Nice and strong. Keep breathing. Nice, long, extended breath. One more breath. And growing tall. All right, stepping out towards the right. Bending down through the front knee, the left leg, walking the right leg back as far as you need to come down into the center. Rotating through the hip of the left leg. Inhaling. Bring the arms up alongside the head. Squaring the hips towards the front of the mat. Bending generously through that left leg. Keeping the ribs tucked, keeping the tailbone tucking in and under as well. One more breath. As we inhale, rotating towards the long edge of the mat. Opening arms up to shoulder height, walking that right foot back, sinking down through the center, opening up through the left leg, pushing that left knee outwards. Looking along that left arm, strong in the legs, soft in the neck and the shoulders. One more breath here. All right, windmilling those arms down towards the left leg, stepping that right foot in. Keep coming forward. I didn't mention on the other side, but if you'd like a block, if you can't quite reach the floor, please do use a block for your hand. Keep bringing that weight over the left foot. Bring the center of gravity forward, over the left foot, lifting the right foot up. Letting that right foot float up. Starting with the hip and the leg in the same plane. Just getting used to balancing on the one foot. Staying here, concentrating on the balance. If you feel confident, bringing the weight up off the right hand now and gently rotating the pelvis towards the long edge of the mat, rotating the right leg up and out. And if you feel really confident and balanced, you can start bringing the right hand off the mat, maybe bring it up towards the hip. Ooh. This side's a bit more challenging for me today. One more breath wherever you are. And bring those hips and the leg back to neutral if they're not already, and slowly releasing that right foot back down to meet the left. All right, staying folded here. Letting the legs relax, letting the torso relax over the top of the legs. Just hanging out here. If you'd like some movement in this position, changing your weight from right to left. You can also sway and move the arms around. Or you can stay still, whatever feels good. Having a generous bend in the knees, the hamstrings are a bit tight. Dangling the head and neck, nice and soft through the neck. One more breath here. And then slowly rolling back up to standing. All right, stepping or jumping out. This time, the distance between the legs, we want it to be the same length as one of your own legs. You can imagine if you can take your leg off or pop down the floor and measure the length, the distance. That's the ideal length that we want. Right, turning the toes are the right foot out, left toes coming in at a 45-degree angle. When we're in this posture, The strongest position for our legs is actually having the feet going in slightly different angles, but we do want to keep the rotation of the legs and the hip sockets to the same amount of rotation. So not only focusing on the feet turning out, but ensuring that the movement is coming from the hip sockets, so rotating with the hip sockets, but keeping the pelvis square to the long edge of the mat. Right foot grounding down through the heel, slightly onto the outside edge, and then coming back around to the big right toe to make a nice stable base for our foot. Left foot slightly rolling out onto the left edge, the pinky edge of the foot, but still again grounding down through that big left toe. Bringing the left arm into the small of the back, right arm onto right leg. Bringing a little bit of movement into this posture. So tucking the tailbone under, nice and tall through the sideways, front and back of the body. And we're just going to come over to the right, just a little bit, and then back again. Over to the right, sinking down through the hips, and back again. Over to the right, this time, bringing the arm down as long as you feel comfortable. So either placing the hand above the knee or below the knee, finding that point of resistance, but being comfortable in that stretch. Sinking down through the right hip, pushing the left hip out. Once you find that point of balance, lifting the left arm straight up. Aligning the left arm and the right arm so that they're in a nice straight line. Keeping the neck in a neutral position, either looking straight up towards the hand or looking forward. Or if the balance is really a challenge today, you can look down towards the right foot. So choose your drishti point, your focal point, and we'll stay here for 5 breaths. One more breath here. Generously bending through that right knee and bringing the torso back up to center. All right, bring both legs towards the front. Maybe give the hips a little wiggle if they need it. Otherwise, we'll be going straight over to the left side. So turning the toes of the left foot out 90 degrees, right foot coming in at that 45-degree angle, making sure that we're rotating through the hip sockets, through the legs and hips, squaring the pelvis to the long edge of the mat, rounding down through the left foot, down through the heel, onto the outer edge, and then pressing down with that left big toe, nice and strong. Same with the right, except turning slightly outwards onto the outer edge of the right foot and grounding down through the right big toe. Bring the right hand to the small of the back, tucking the tailbone under, long through the sideways, front and back of the body. Left arm onto left leg. And when you're ready, rolling the shoulders back and down, gently coming over to the left. And back up again. Coming down to the left. And back up again. Once more, coming down towards the left. Finding that point of resistance. Either bring the left hand above the knee or below the knee onto the shin. Once you've found that perfect spot and you feel balance, lifting the right arm straight up. Making sure the right and the left arms are in alignment. Most people bring the top hand back far too much. You can bring it quite far forward towards the head in order to get it into alignment. Palm facing the front of the room. Sinking down through that left hip, sticking the right one out. Looking up towards the hand, front of the room, or down at the left foot, whatever feels most appropriate for you today. Taking 5 breaths here. Really sinking into this posture of trikonasana, triangle pose. Feeling the strength and the stability of this posture. One more breath. Bending through the left leg, drawing the torso back up to standing, bringing both toes towards the front of the room. Giving the legs and the hips a little shake. Right, sticking with that shape again, either stepping out or jumping out. Legs can be a little bit closer together for this next one. Just going to take my t-shirt off. It's getting rather warm in here today. Good sign of spring, nice warm weather. All right, this time bringing our hands behind, interlacing the fingers, bringing the thumbs towards each other, rolling the shoulders back and down, opening up through the chest. Pausing here for a moment to feel that stretch coming through the chest and the shoulders. And bringing the arms back around. Bring the hands into the hips. As we inhale, growing tall through the spine and neck. As we exhale, hinging on the hips, bring the torso forward. We want the torso and the legs to be in an L shape, 90-degree shape. So this position. All right, once we're here, bring the arms out to shoulder height. And inhaling to center. Exhale, bring the left hand across to the right side of the toes. Bring the right arm up, pointing up towards the ceiling. Inhaling center. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale center, twist to the right. Inhale center, twist to the left. Inhale center, twist to the right. Inhale center, twist to the left. Inhale center, twist to the right. This time, hang on to the right foot, twisting over towards the right, pausing here for a couple of breaths. You can also bring the left hand down to the center if that crossing over is too strong. One more breath. Inhaling back to center. Exhale, over to the left. So either holding on to the left foot Or if you prefer, bring the right hand into the center, taking a few breaths here. You can look up towards the hand or just look straight out toward the side, whatever's better for your neck. One more breath. Inhale back to center and lifting the torso back out. Ooh, you'll be nice and warm now. Stepping the legs back in, giving them a little shake, maybe giving the arms a little shake as well. Nice full body workout. All right, this time we want to bring our feet about a foot width apart, stepping the right foot forward, and we want about 2 feet between the right and the left, and we want the legs on like separate tracks. So we don't want them being one behind another. We want them to be foot width apart on separate tracks. This will help with the balance of this asana. All right, rolling the shoulders back and down. Bringing the arms behind the back. You can stack one arm on top of the other. Or if you wish, you can bring the hands into pranayama behind the back. I would suggest bringing the forearms together if this is your first time doing this asana. Rolling the shoulders back and down. Gently, slightly bring the weight back into the left foot. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, hinging forward over the hips and bringing the torso down and over the right leg. Having the arms up here is too much. Do feel free to release them and bring them down either side of the leg. Otherwise, coming down and over. So pushing the weight back to the left foot will actually help with the balance here. But we still, even though we're pushing our weight backwards, we still want an even distribution through both feet. One more breath. And slowly coming back up. All right, keeping both feet where they are, but turning to the opposite end of the room. Might need to adjust the feet slightly to accommodate. All right, so your choice again, whether you want to bring the hands down to the mat or bring the arms in behind the back. If you're bringing the forearms together, try and wrap them in the opposite way that you did the first time, if that makes sense. There's always a natural way that we do things, whether it's interlacing fingers or bringing forearms together. So we want to try and do the opposite way, just to challenge ourselves and for our brain and our arms as well. So we're rolling the shoulders back and down, nice and tall through the spine and neck, growing tall as we inhale. Exhaling. Hinging over that left foot, bringing the torso down over the left leg. Bringing the balance point, the weight, slightly back towards the right foot. Sinking down. Drishti point is between the legs or looking back towards the back of the room. We want to try and keep our shoulder blades back onto our back. We don't want any hunched shoulders. One more breath. And slowly come back up. Whew. That is quite a challenging one for the legs, but a nice different sort of stretch for the hamstrings and thighs. All right, coming down towards the mat. Sitting down onto our bottom, bending the knees, walking the hands behind us, about 10 or so centimeters. Feet just bending through the knees, placing the soles of the feet down onto the mat. Rolling the shoulders back and down, nice and strong through the shoulders, opening up through the chest. As we inhale, pressing down into the hands, pressing down into the feet, and lifting the pelvis up towards the ceiling. So we want the sensation of pushing the floor away rather than lifting ourselves up. That will help give you the sensation that you need. And either looking up towards the ceiling or looking forward. Taking a breath here. And then slowly releasing bottom back down. All right, readjusting the hands, readjusting the feet if you need. And we're going to do that again. So when you're ready, inhaling. Going tall through the spine and neck. Opening up through the chest, pressing the shoulders back and down. Exhaling and inhaling again. Lifting the pelvis up towards the ceiling. All right, we'll take a few breaths here. Pushing that floor away, lifting the pelvis up just a little bit higher. One more breath. And slowly releasing back down. All right, we'll do that one more time. So you can either do it again in the same position with the knees bent, or if you'd like to try extending the legs long. When we press up, we want to keep the legs long and push those feet strongly down into the mat as we lift the hips up. So when you're ready, choose what position that you'd like for the reverse tabletop. Rolling the shoulders back and down, opening up through the chest, squeezing those shoulder blades in together. Taking a breath to prepare, inhaling, exhaling. And when you're ready, inhaling, lifting up, taking a few breaths here wherever you are. Nice and strong. Pushing the floor away. One more breath. And then with control, releasing slowly back down. Woo! Giving the arms a shake, giving the shoulders a wee roll, maybe rolling the legs side to side if you wish. Or getting nice and floppy. Okay. Rolling back down towards the mat. Bending the knees, bringing the knees in towards the bottom. Feet and knees can be hip width apart. You want a nice gap in there. Bring the arms alongside the body, extending the neck long along the mat. If you wish, you can have a block nearby. If you need more of a restorative posture after that reverse tabletop, it can take the energy out of you a wee bit. So when you're ready, taking your breaths to prepare, inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling, pressing down through the hands, pressing down through the feet, lifting the pelvis up towards the ceiling, rolling the shoulders back and down, bringing the weight slightly back onto the shoulders, tucking the chin into the chest, squeezing the bottom, and slowly releasing the spine back down. Pausing here for a moment, and when you're ready, inhaling, lifting back up. Bring the weight up and over onto the shoulders. Take a couple of breaths here. And then slowly releasing back down. All right. You can stay here if you wish. If you want to use the block for this position, all you need to do is just gently lift up. Place the block in the sacrum, so between your lower back and your bottom. This is a nice, comfortable position if you want the benefits of the bridge pose, but perhaps aren't feeling so strong, or maybe if you're not feeling well, this can be a nice way to do it. You're not feeling 100%. So you can just rest here, still getting the benefit of the slight incline, slight inversion. All right, so we'll do this a third time, so you can either stick with the bridge that we've been doing, or if you would like an extra challenge, you can go up into the full wheel. If you haven't done the wheel before, what we do is keeping the feet and the knees in the same position, walking them as close as you can to your bottom, hip width apart. Bring your arms up in alignment with the shoulders, lifting the palms up to the ceiling, and getting that sensation of being nice and strong through the shoulders, pressing shoulder blades in and down, rolling them down onto the back. From there, just bending through the elbows, bringing the hands down towards the floor. Arms and the shoulders will lift up a wee bit. We just want to make sure that the hands and the palms are nice and flat against the mat. If they're not quite flat yet, just working towards making sure they're flat before you attempt to come up into full wheel. So one thing that can help with this is opening up through the armpits, pushing those elbows up to the ceiling, but towards the head. The next step after that is tucking the chin into the chest. And when you're ready on an inhale, just lifting the palms up off the mat, pressing your hands down into the mat, getting used to that sensation. If that feels comfortable and you'd like to lift up from there, gently pressing up through the hands, and you can come up onto the crown of the head, but make sure you're not dumping your weight into the crown of the head. So inhaling, coming up onto the crown of the head, and making sure you're pressing down with the hands and the feet. From there, inhaling again, lifting all the way up. Straightening the arms. Strong through the legs, strong through the bottom. And when you're ready to come down, gently coming down to the crown of the head, tucking the chin into the chest and releasing back down. It's not always pretty coming down, but as gently and as mindfully as you can come down and go up, please be very careful. All right, wherever you are, meeting here, having a little rest, lying on the back for a moment. Maybe rolling the neck from side to side, extend the legs long, giving the legs a little shake. And when you're ready, rolling over onto the right side, pushing yourself back up to a seated position. All right, the next thing that we're going to look at is doing some shashomna prep, some headstand prep. So if you are familiar with headstand, do feel free to come up into headstand if you want. Otherwise, we'll just be doing some prep for that asana. So The prep for this asana is making sure that we're nice and strong through the shoulders, strong through the upper arms, forearms, and the hand position, and finding the perfect spot to balance with the top of the head. When you do eventually get up to doing shashomna fully, we don't want to be having any weight coming down to the head. We want to be pushing up and away through the arms. So taking the weight through the shoulders, the top of the arms and the forearms, to be taking the weight off the body. So this is all about just getting used to that sensation of the pressure of the body and the feeling of being upside down, not going to go up into headstand today. So always tuck your shirt whenever you're going upside down. You don't want your shirt to flop over your head and obscure your vision. That's great. Okay, so I like to start way back from my mat, coming onto my knees. And with the hands and the arms, what we're doing, just bring them down in front of the knees, about 10 centimeters is what I do. Crossing the forearms over, like this. Bring the hands into the elbows. And that should be approximately the same width as the points of the shoulders for your anatomy. From there, once you've got the elbows and the hands in that position, don't move the elbows, just release the hands. Bring the forearms up and place the palms of the hands together, interlacing the fingers, keeping the thumbs on top, keep the fingers down towards the mat. Then just opening the palms of the hands, you should make a little gap like this. And that is where you're going to place the back of your head. So getting the hands in a strong position, not going back or forward, just in a nice neutral position. Lifting the bottom up, placing the head down onto the mat, and placing the back of the head into that gap into the hands. So when you're placing your head down, just rolling slightly back, slightly forward, and there should be a point in between rolling back and forward that should feel really nice and comfortable. It's also worthwhile noting that this is much easier to do with someone else watching you, because they can tell you whether or not your neck is in the correct position. So you want your neck to be in a neutral position, in a straight up and down position, but finding that point on your head should help with that. So finding that perfect spot, rolling the shoulder blades back and down onto the back, pushing down through the forearms, down into the mat. Now you can stay here and just experience that sensation. Or if you would like to try, all we're going to do is tuck our toes and then lift the hips up. You'll get more of an idea of how much weight is coming down through here. Pushing down to the forearms. And then if you feel comfortable, start to walk the toes in. Then you get a real strong indication of how much pressure is going to be coming down. So just rocking back and forth there, or whichever position that you're in, and just getting used to the sensation of that pressure coming down. Once you've had enough, walk the feet back, come back down to the shins, and whatever position you're in, make sure you bring those hips back down towards the heels, head down towards the mat, coming down into a child's pose, with the forehead down towards the mat, and just letting the body rebound after coming up into that inverted position. All right, pressing yourself back up onto the shins. Should be feeling a bit more equalized now. And now we'll head over onto our back and we'll do either some prep for sarvangasana, the shoulder stand, or coming up the shoulder stand, just wherever you are. So rolling back down onto the back, I like to come all the way forward onto my mat. Rolling the spine down, again, tucking the t-shirt if you need, you don't want it flopping over top of your head. All right, zipping the legs together, bringing the arms alongside the body. If you haven't done shoulder stand before, the first step, simply just lifting the legs straight up. So having them in this position gives you the sensation of being inverted. If the hamstrings are comfortable, you can start bringing the legs a little further towards the head, more of an angle, but just assess where you are. If the legs are a little bit tired or shaky, you can hold on to the legs, or you can place a strap around the feet, hang on to the strap just to give you some extra support. If that's comfortable, the next stage after that is bringing the hips up and off the mat. I find it easier to come straight back into plow and then come straight up. Some people find it easier just to lift up or coming up into bridging and wiggling the hands up. So you just got to find the position that works best for you. I'm going to come back into the plow and then lift up for the next bit. So yeah, legs straight up. First position, second position. We're just going to bring the hands into the small of the back and then bring the weight of the bottom and the hips back down. So creating a sort of a jackknife position. This will take some of the weight off the shoulders and evenly distribute it between the arms and the shoulders. If that's comfortable, then what you want to do is coming back into plow, bringing the hands together, walking the shoulders in. Once the shoulders are in, bring the hands into the small of the back, and then lifting the legs straight up. Whatever position you're in, make sure you're not turning your head from side to side. You want the neck to be in a neutral position, tucking the chin into the chest. And in this position here, we want to be pressing the chest in towards the chin in towards the chest. We want to get the spine and the back as straight as possible. If the t-shirt is a bit slippy, moving it away, exposing the skin, pressing your hands into the skin of your back. And with the feet, making sure we're lifting up and out the pelvis, extending up through the legs, pushing out through the heels of the feet, pressing the feet up towards the ceiling. Growing tall through the sideways front and back of the body and lifting up and out of the shoulders. That's the sensation that you want to be aiming for, as a lifting up and out and pressing the mat away with the forearms and shoulders. When you're ready, just bring the legs straight down over top of the head, hinging through the hips. Taking the arms away from the smaller back, slowly rolling the spine back down towards the mat. Bring the arms alongside the body. Lifting the head, bringing the chin onto the chest, and slowly releasing both legs down, as slow and as controlled as you possibly can. Once the heels touch the floor, bring the head and shoulders back down, letting the arms and legs roll away. Pausing here for a moment to rebound. Maybe rolling the neck from side to side very slowly and gently. Back of the neck can be a bit tender when you first start to practice shoulder stand. But the more you practice, the less the neck will hurt and the lighter the body will become. And you'll find that perfect moment one day when you come up into shoulder stand or into head stand, where you feel like you almost weigh absolutely nothing because you've built up enough strength in your muscles that you can come up easily. With practice, this will come quickly. You may also find that the small of your back gets a bit tight. So it's important to do a little bit of rotation after we do these asanas. So bring the legs together, bending through the right knee, drawing the right knee across the body to the left. Coming into the supine twist, help relieve any tension in the spine and in the back muscles. You can either look up towards the ceiling or turn your head and look along the right arm if that feels good. One more breath. Turning the head back to center, rolling back into the back, extending that right leg long, left leg bending through the knee, bring that left leg across the body to the right. either looking up towards the ceiling or turning the neck, looking along the left arm. One more breath. Turning the head back to center, rolling back to back. Right. Now, one of the important postures to do after you've done both headstand and shoulder stand is matsyasana, the fish pose. It's a great way of finishing off those inverted asanas. So bring the hands, walking the hands underneath the bottom, rolling the shoulders in, elbows in ever so slightly, bring the legs together, flexing the ankles and the feet, bring the toes back towards the body. As we inhale, pressing down into the forearms and the hands, lifting the torso up. Bring the head forward, looking towards the toes, lifting up through the chest, nice and strong through the shoulders. Bring a slight arch into the small of the back. And keep looking towards the toes, or if you feel comfortable and the neck is okay, you can drop the head back towards the back of the room. Staying lifted through the chest. One more breath here. If the head is back, drawing the eyes forward towards the toes, walking the elbows out slowly and releasing the torso back down towards the mat. Releasing the hands from underneath the body. Bending through the right knee, drawing the right knee up and in towards the chest. Squeezing the right knee in towards the chest. Holding here for a moment. And then releasing the leg long. Bending the knee of the left leg, drawing the left knee in and up towards the chest. Squeezing that left knee in. Squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. And releasing that left leg long. All right. Getting ready for shavasana. If you need to put some extra layers on, put some extra layers on, a t-shirt or a jumper, or even a blanket. It's a bit chilly today. I'm just going to put my t-shirt on. So legs long along the mat. Turning the toes inwards towards each other. Lifting up, bring the bottom back. Bring the fingertips to touch in front of the body, leaning forward slightly, and then slowly releasing the spine back down with control. As slow as you possibly can. Once the shoulders touch the mat, releasing the arms, letting the legs roll away from each other, letting the arms roll away from each other. Tucking the chin to the chest, extending the back of the neck along the mat. Finding a spot on the ceiling to focus on. And then softening the focus on that spot on the ceiling. And if you wish, closing the eyes. And coming back into the breath. Breathing in through the nose, back of the throat, down into the lungs, out of the lungs, back of the throat, out through the nose. Taking a few breaths like this, following the breath in and out of the body. Now I want you to bring your mind to the spine. And imagine that as we breathe, we're breathing in through the pelvis. In through the pelvis, lower spine, mid-spine, upper spine, back of the neck, back of the head, and then into the head to the eyebrow center. And when we exhale from the eyebrow center, through the head, back of the head, the neck, upper spine, mid-spine, lower spine. So we want to feel that we're breathing up and down the spine. This time, as we breathe up into the spine, I want you to visualize a little ball of light. And as we're following the breathing from the pelvis up to the eyebrow center, I want you to visualize this ball of light moving from the pelvis up the lower spine, mid-spine, upper spine, back of the neck, back of the head, through the head to the eyebrow center. And then exhaling, eyebrow center, through the head, back of the head, the neck, upper spine, mid-spine, lower spine, back down into the pelvis. This time, following the breath, following the ball of light, but also introducing the mantra so hum. So as we breathe in, so, as we exhale, hum. So, hum. So, hum. So, hum. Twice more in your own time. After your next round of breath, dropping the mantra so hum, but continuing with following the breath and the ball of light, moving up and down the spine. Now dropping, following the ball of light, but continuing, following the breath, moving up and down the spine. Now dropping, following the breath, moving up and down the spine. And just allowing your breathing to return to its natural, spontaneous pattern. Taking a deep breath in and exhaling with a sigh. Again. One more time. Wriggling the fingers and the toes, bring some movement into the body. And when you're ready, rolling over onto your right side, pausing there for a moment. And when you're ready, pushing yourself back up to a seated position. Sitting on a cushion, if you wish. Taking a moment here to just notice how the body is feeling now, how the breath is feeling now, and how the mind is feeling now. Rolling those shoulders back and down, getting ready to close the practice. We will chant 3 Oms, taking 1 breath to prepare, inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling for Om. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Rubbing the palms together, creating some heat. And then placing the palms, hands over the eyes, peering into the palms of the hands. Letting your eyes adjust to the light. Placing the palms over the cheeks and the face. Placing the palms of the hands over the neck, throat. Rubbing the palms together again. Fingers and thumbs. Wrists, forearms. Placing the hands together in the heart center. Hari Om Tat Sat.